Hello guys. I'm already going strong here. And I need some sound.
So tiny, but so good.
Let's see. Which starter am I thinking of here? I need to go into Dagger Frenzy first. And after that, I guess it depends on how much I want to go into crit. Actually, no, maybe I should just do Hydras first. Maybe that makes more sense.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, I should probably just do that. Get some mana as well. Even though mana is not really
On my way.
I guess that big of a deal currently in Smite 2. It's very bare boned, sure.
Your middle tower is under attack. Enemy missing leg.
My opponent is simply missing.
Gank.
On my way. Your middle tower is under attack.
Just really slow at doing blue, it seems.
Those who do their best.
Completed.
Retreat. Attack right lane.
It is auto-leveling again. Stop, game, please. I don't want the wall yet. Oh well, it's not a big deal, but
Okay. Think nothing of it.
it's so unnecessary.
An ally has been slain. Attack. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
I'll take that. Humble link. I'll just back off at this point, I guess. After this. Gotta take these when you can. Some good damn gold. Get him. Nice, nice. Now I can back. Grab Hydras into, let's see. Yeah, I'll just go full ham. Go straight into Deathbringer. Go for a bit of a cheesy build here.
Gank.
An ally has been slain.
Ganked middle lane.
On my way.
See if we can get something here.
Double kill. An enemy has been slain.
Attack.
The tower bounties are definitely strange, I think. Because losing them, which you can very easily, doesn't really feel great. They kind of run out really fast
Be careful.
if you don't grab them when they get down. That's like 80 piece, like 80 gold per piece on that stuff. That's insane. The fact you can miss that easily is rough.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Enemy missing right. Enemy spotted. Enemy spotted. Unstoppable.
Damn, caught me on the edge.
An enemy has been slain.
Now this is here where I maybe want to go into a bit more protection to try it out. What about a Berserker Shield? I'll try this. It's not going to work against Hades, obviously, but... Like maybe do Kusari as well. I want to try an auto-attack Ymir that isn't super squishy, if I could. How the game's been going? Pretty well. I did some games last night, off stream.
Gank left lane.
And won all of them, I think? Maybe lost one. But yeah, pretty well. And this is the first game on stream today, so... Did you build Deathring on Ymir? Yeah, you can. It's back to the old roots where you could build crit on Ymir. And Ra. Ra was a pretty decent legit ADC because he has a steroid in his heal, you know? It's really not that bad.
I help those who do their best.
On my way.
Oh no. Oof.
It is tiring.
The Goopis came back, dude. He followed me. Damn, if anyone was following me, I would have just went on him instead. Alright, I do need to warm up a bit. I feel slow. Also, my sensitivity feels a bit high. How would I fix that? Gameplay, I guess.
Your middle tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Should be a bit better. Yeah. Yeah, got you to clear 1k yesterday. He does it really easily too, especially if I have Hydra's as well as Deathbringer. If you freeze someone and the first hit will be a Hydra's crit, yeah, that's why you build that. I also screwed up because damn, I don't have Dagger Frenzy. Never mind. I thought I built Dagger Frenzy. I don't. I don't have it.
Okay. Gank.
Let's TP over and see if we can do something here.
An enemy has been slain.
Where did everyone else go?
Middle.
An ally has
It
been
is
slain.
tiring. Learning so many
Damn
new
it.
things.
Oh, they TP'd as well. Soul TP'd away. Damn. Sad.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Gank.
An ally has been slain.
That's a Thana for free.
Stand your ground.
I don't think the auto attack stuff Ymir is that good if you're against good players. Mostly because Ymir is still pretty easy to lock down. But it is a lot of fun, which is why I'm trying to see if I could build a kind of hybrid.
middle lane.
An enemy has been slain.
Grab a Kasari as well.
Be
An
careful.
ally has been slain. Good. On my way.
Round.
No tower. Damn, I thought I'm not doing a whole lot of damage to Hades. He's building tanky, that's why. I expected to just kind of one clap him, and I didn't even two clap him. He still survived that, and then I died to the tower. Unfortunate. Quick ban me. I don't want to ban you.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy.
Can I buy? I can. Perfect.
Gank middle lane.
Question is, what should I go for next? Because I could just go more damage. I'm still very tempted to Dagger Frenzy, just so I have a, an active steroid. I mean, why would I ban you in the first place? Did you do anything? What did you do? I don't ban people for no reason.
On my way. Has been slain.
Gank right lane. Attack.
Slain.
Attack the Gold
Help
Fury.
middle lane. Yes. Attack the Gold Fury.
Stand a blink.
Has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Gank.
An enemy has been slain.
Damn it. Okay. So you cannot knock yourself out of anything, it seems. The knockback doesn't work like that. I tried to knock myself out of the Hate Assault. Didn't work. Come on. Stop. Yeah, it seems like I was mummified as well. I didn't see that at all. Or hear it, for that matter. Dude, actually, this might be kind of clutch. Movement speed as well as cooldown rate. Is either that or I need pen.
Enemies in middle lane.
I'm doing this one.
On my way.
We definitely have to do with Thana. Thana's the main issue. Sol could become a problem later if we don't deal with her. But she's been kept down so far, decently.
Group up. Attack Fire Giant.
gonna grab the Warhorn. Potentially if all the buffs are up, I'll grab those as well. Yeah. It's a bit of a mess, this build, though, I think. I don't think it's particularly good.
Fire giant.
Your left tower is under an enemy has been slain.
Attack middle tower.
Move up.
Attack fire giant.
Fire giant. On my way.
Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
Attack fire giant.
Your left tower
Got so much damage coming out of the Ymir as well. For objective damage. Let's see if Hades overstays here. They're so far back. Okay. Yeah, Dagger Frenzy could definitely be nice. I started feeling like I don't need the attack speed anymore, because I built both Berserkers as well as Kusaris, so I have enough attack speed now. Alright, I'll just grab this tower.
an enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a middle enemy base.
The Titan.
An enemy has been slain.
Alright. Worked out. I do think the Ymir is incredibly powerful in lane, but I think he definitely falls off a bit with the attack speed builds going into late game. Once ADCs and mages start doing a lot more damage, it becomes kind of hard, I feel like, to get in there. That being said, I do think it has value, because with the heavy beats forcing you can have in a team, like if you end up having like an Athena and a Ymir, you can absolutely destroy people if they don't have beats. So yeah, I think in that case, generally, Ymir should probably be full damage instead, and not have any protection, and just make sure that when you hit them, they die. Like, this was still fine. Like, even with 2 protection items with Berserkers and Kusari, I was still critting for like 500 or 600 with the Hydras. So, it definitely still works, but positioning against like good peeling backliners like on her, like there's not that many yet. It's based, I guess Neith is actually quite good at that now as well, but Neith on her, I guess, maybe Anubis, is gonna probably kill the Ymir, I think, more than he would like later on. But until that point, Ymir should be the one that wins those matchups. Like, Keranos might also smack Ymir because of his CC ult, It depends on how that gets played out, I suppose. Because I probably won't have beats. Just need 2 people here. Come on, 2 people. I don't know if I can check how many... No, I can't see worshippers and stuff anywhere. In like a grand state. I wonder who I played the most so far. It has to be Mordred. I'm ranked 2 on Mordred. Who else could I have played that much? Ymir? No. Not even a little bit. I guess I haven't. I've been swapping around quite a bit. Yeah, not even Jingwei. Huh. I haven't really played many different gods just yet. Only Hades once. Yeah, Mordred is by far the one I played the most, by a large margin. Which makes sense. I mean, he's the new most interesting god. Like, and I would love to get him as well if I could. I do want to play him more. He's so much fun. You want Chak? I can get Chak as well. Yeah, you can try and get me either Chak or Mordred. That's fine. I do find it funny people are banning Mordred, because I don't think he's that good. But he is also new. I think it's more like people don't know how to deal with him yet. Like Fenrir is much better than Mordred right now, and he's also easier to play. Mordred's ultimate is like if you know where it's coming from, it's very easy to juke out. You want Loki again?
Loki.
Okay.
What's my assignment?
Loki. It's a good feature that you can trade before, or I guess just at any point now. That's nice. That feels a lot better. Dude, I need to see if I can actually get Death's Reign, this Chuck skin, on Smite 1. I need to log on Smite 1 at some point. I'm going to write it down, because I keep forgetting about it. I need to spend my gems, and hopefully I can actually just buy this skin, because it's such a good Chuck skin. Also, does anyone know, what do you build on Chuck now? Is there like a defined build? Or maybe not a defined build, but do you actually go for strength, or do you go for intelligence? I'm not sure. I have a few builds in mind I could try, but I don't actually know which one is the better one. I'm kind of tempted to try a full damage chuck, so I might just do that this game. Or like, maybe not full damage, but like semi full damage. Maybe like 1 or 2 protection items. Rest is like Jotuns and stuff. A lot of it also depends on who I'm going to be against here. Which I assume is the one they haven't picked yet. What's even left? Odin and Bologna, I guess? Or Zeus, yeah. Zeus should not be a problem. I might just go Jotun's then. I'd poke the shit out of him. Or just kill him with it. Oh, I don't do that. I am gonna try maybe Sunder here. Actually, no, I'm against Zeus. That doesn't even matter. It's useless to do against him. I'm gonna get everything anyway. Excuse me? Where are Jotuns? Huh? Searching for Jotuns. It's right there. Alright. Yeah, that should work out. Everything scales more with strength. Yeah, strength. Healing is still intelligence only. So they decided to still keep it at that. That's interesting.
Hail.
Level 1 is Axe, it seems. I guess it wasn't Smite 1 as well, it just protection is nice to have early. Let me think. I'll probably do Jotuns into maybe Shifters. Yeah, still works out pretty well. Get some double protection.
Okay. Gang. Wait. Godly wrath.
And my auto's fucked up so fast. Damn. Missed the creep, but he's missing one more than me, so...
Your middle tower is under attack. Godly wrath. To the face. An ally has been slain. Okay, okay, okay. To the face. An ally has been slain. Godly wrath.
Susano doing work right now, it seems.
To the face. You have slain an enemy. Your middle tower is under attack. Okay, no problem. An ally has been slain.
Uh-oh. It's looking rough. Might have a game on our hands here.
Please.
Where's Zeus? Should've been back by now.
Your middle tower is under attack. Enemy missing right.
There he is.
An enemy has been slain.
See if he walks up.
By the light, be purged.
No, I'm dead. Oh, no. Sad. Alright. Dude, Comet Blink also has a long cooldown. Damn. I'll get one word here. I thought my 1-2 would finish him off too. That's unfortunate, because I think I should have survived. If that was the case. That's why I did it in the first place.
Cancel that. Attack left lane. Is under attack. To the face. On my way. Wait. Wait. Let the heavens rage.
This is ult. It's quite good for me actually.
Has been slain. I'll defend left lane. Lightning bolt. By the light, showing radiance.
Because that means I can just dive him.
Attack. A divine storm.
Susano might visit me here.
An enemy has been slain. Nice gun. Attack! An ally has been slain.
He's in mid. Should be all good. I'll see if I can leave the tower on low HP and dive Zeus as a result of it.
Gank left lane. Set up an ambush here.
I'm so addicted to regrowth on Chuck, man. I really wanna I really want regrowth, man. I wanna be speedy. I like having the extra speed on Chuck so much. But in reality, I'm not sure an item like that should exist. I think it's too good.
An enemy has been slain.
I wonder why he backed. I wasn't really here. And I don't think he got ganked.
Enemy missing right. An ally has been slain.
He's full HP. I don't think I can do anything here. Yeah, never mind. That's not worth it. With Bacchus here as well. And he's level 9. Kukulkan is doing quite well for himself, it seems.
Your middle tower is under attack. A divine storm.
Oh, he ulted over there.
You have slain an enemy.
Attack the Gold Fury.
To the face. An enemy has been slain. Enemies have returned to base.
Attack the Gold Fury. Move up.
Yes. Attack the Gold Fury. Shimmering radiance.
Okay, nice. I actually have another build I might want to give a shot here. What could I grab here instead? I think I want to try to do more strength. I want to grab this one. Tegokaki. A good strength as well as skips cooldown. Good amount of strength and cooldown. Sounds good for Chuck. I just don't know what else to maybe get for protection. Maybe actually Shield of the Phoenix. Oh no, this one! Yeah, no, I'm absolutely doing this one. It's not defense, but it has 300 health. And the passive on it is kind of sick for Chuck, because it helps with his heal as well. It gives intelligence and strength. I'll absolutely snack that one up.
An ally has been slain. Enemy missing right. An ally has been slain.
See if any of them are low enough or overstaying in any way. Nah, doesn't seem like it. Maybe once my 1 is a little higher level, I might be able to go all in. But my 1 doesn't really do a whole lot of damage right now. Oh yeah, the heal actually just heals nothing. It's also rank 1, so that's worth noting, but... That is not a good heal.
On my way. An enemy has been slain. Godly wrath.
I had to get the little cheeky combat blink behind the stun.
Missing middle.
I had to go for it. That worked out. There we go. Grab you, and I actually think. What about Amamita? Is that what it's called? Amamita? It is not. I need to find the active thing. Actually, it probably is called Amamita. It's just because I'm stupid and I. Maybe it isn't. No, it is Amanita. I want to get this flower here. Especially if I'm building a bit more squishy. This flower might come in clutch. Do he ult it? Damn, alright. This guy has actual fear now. Holy shit. I wasn't even close. I'm gonna rotate here. It's poor Zeus. It's not a good matchup for you, buddy. I understand.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower. Attack the gold fury.
How satisfying to watch. This poor Zeus. Not much you can do anymore. How many is this? Can you oh, it's up there. Okay, so we got 2 Gold Furies now.
This will add to my splendor.
Is there anything else I want to build into this? Maybe a Crusher? Serrated Hatsika? I'm not sure I like that. Maybe Bloodforge? Just as a shield?
An enemy has been slain.
Damn, I don't actually know. I'll go for Crusher. I still have 2 more item slots, so... Damn, you guys are so aggressive up there. Fighting their whole team. On my way.
On my way.
Ah, he's done.
Ally has been slain.
Let's see if any of them are gonna run by me here. Neath is walking up. Zeus is over there with no HP. He is far away.
Storm
I don't understand this pathing. I guess Neath just TP'd to the other side or something? Not too sure where they went. Blink as well. No, the tower. Damn. Wait, actually, what did so much damage to me? I guess just Kokolkan over time. Weird. I feel like something did so much damage to me. Maybe Suze as well, actually. Okay. Slight greed. I also forgot my flower. Should have maybe used that one. Is this the Chak build? I'm just testing stuff. I don't know if it is. I doubt that it is. But I'm testing as well. Gladiators also has some good cooldown on it. How much cooldown do I have now? 45? I don't actually know. Could do a Heartseeker or something like a Titan's Bane. Is Heartseeker even good? I feel like I haven't seen it on anyone. I have no idea. Realistically, I would probably go for some protection here. I already forgot what the item I wanted to build. What's the thing called? It's the one that has a bunch of health. Is it this one? No. This one. Yeah, I gotta get this one, because it has a great passive for Chuck. Actually, that's wasted on fire. I use my flower to heal areas, but I'm pretty sure fire lowers the amount of healing you're allowed to get, so... So that is useless. Dude, Kedanos has such slow attack speed. I went too far. You in party? Yeah, I am. I am. She didn't want a backflip. Or she just gave up. That also makes sense. I'm still in amber. No, actually no, I can't be. Does it, why does it still say amber? I am in bronze now. I have been promoted to bronze. I'm actually nearing silver. Don't think I ever had a worse smite experience. Are you playing casuals, Benji? Or are you playing in ranked? Because if it's ranked, it's tough. That sucks. Ranked? That sucks, man. That sucks. Yeah, I learned that as well yesterday. It's really, really, really hard to win if you don't queue with someone who knows how to play the game. It's actually quite insane. You can solo carry on some gods like Jingwei or Sol, but yeah, we'll hit Prince. You played well. Oh yeah, we full try-harding here. We're looking for 5 people now. We're gonna have a very long queue. I hope you guys understand. Unless we're lucky, I guess. But 5-man queuing, it's gonna give us some pretty long queues. Yeah, games are pretty tough at times. It is crazy to see a disparity between skill levels in a new game like this, where all the top Smite players are all the way down at the bottom, seeing how rough it really is in the very beginning of a game like this. We've all been there, but it's easy to forget how bad we all were at one point, considering how long it's been for a lot of us. This game I Ares ADC. Well, hopefully he builds damage. If he builds tank, it might be tough. Not too long of a queue, surprisingly. Not actually that long. Yeah, Tragic could be Mordred if you can, guys. I want to play Mordred. You can ban Chuck if you want. I don't really think you need to, but you can if you want. The only god I don't want to deal with is Jingwei. I think Jingwei is so nasty. Well, I kind of don't want to deal with Hades as well, but that's just because it's Hades. He's no fun to lane against. You had a game start as a 45 today. I've seen some people have that. Yeah. Sometimes someone just don't load in. Or like, I don't know what happens. I guess one player just glitches out. It's so weird. I really don't understand how that actually happens. Gotta be some weird coding problem. Hasn't happened to me yet. The one game where it did happen was dodged, luckily. But yeah, has not happened to me yet. You joining voice? I mean, we could. I could join voice. Yeah, I could join voice. Let's join voice. Let me pick something here. Treat it like a scrim. Well, I wouldn't be in comms, I think, or streaming during scrims, I think. That would be a bad idea. Don't want to give away any strats, man. Not that we have any. No one has any strats yet. We don't mind. Well, it's a bad business practice, you know? Hello, hello. Alright. Can one of you check how it sounds on stream to make sure that it's not too loud? Okay, perfect. And yeah. Yeah, and chat can also just let me know if it's too loud at points. Because I might have to readjust one of you. Don't think we can hear them. I mean, that's even better actually. That works. If you guys can't hear them at all, then that works out just fine. Because then, yeah, then you guys just need to understand I'll be talking to myself the whole time. I do that at home anyway. Gotta talk back to all the voices. Dude, who am I against? Is it Ymir or Fenrir? They both kind of suck for me, honestly. Yeah, no, it's not. I was about to say, unless he's got an ult, I don't think he's in this one. Do you guys want me to put on push to talk, or are you fine with me just talking to chat while? Okay. Yeah, no, actually, this works out just fine for me, because I think in general, as maybe it's just like when I watch people stream, I think it's better if I can only hear them. You know, it's hard to focus when there's so many voices sometimes.
Have spawned. Not bad. Cancel that.
Okay, alright, might be tough actually. I don't think this matchup is good for Mordred at all.
missing. And left the game. My blades hunt. Slay an enemy. Last scoop. Pain is all I have ever.
Banner was left, his blink is down. He's still on left.
Has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
He's still on left. Go away! Yeah.
Your right tower is under attack. An ally has returned.
Yeah, there's a weird glitch in front of Phoenix's. I saw Athena do it as well with her dash.
Scent of blood. Run high. Death follows close. Your middle tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack. Pain is all I have ever known. Okay. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. I'll defend. Gang. Scent of blood.
Might need a little restart, I guess. Oh, he's dead. Yeah.
Gang. Help. On my way. An enemy has been slain. You have slain an enemy. Killing spree. Death follows close.
I did make it a bronze show. I did.
here. An enemy has been slain. Goodbye. Okay.
Okay, look at that Benji. Yeah, they're both here.
An enemy has been slain. I sense your fear. An enemy has been slain. You are no match. Scent of blood.
Yeah. Let's blink. If you can, yeah.
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower. Your right tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain. I sense your fear. Death follows close. Scent of blood.
No, dude! Fucking looping around me. It's too easy to juke the ultimate if you're right in front of them.
You have slain an enemy. Slain.
Tragic. Ah, the surrender. If you know Mordred is coming, it's way so easy to just run around him. You feel like a fucking clown. No, I think you get less when you're in a party. Alright. Okay, I ended up taking Push to Talk on anyway, so now they can't hear me. You won your first game with Ares A to Z? Yeah, Bakos is quite nice right now. Like, he's really good. I've been promoted to silver now. Rising in the ranks. But Ymir's solo is pretty hard to deal with, I think. He can so easily just dominate you if you don't have any kind of escapability. Like with Odin or Hades or something like that. It's not the worst, because you can just dash or jump away. But in someone like Mordred, if he catches you, you might just be dead. The slow is so dominant and he hits so hard. Like, I was only able to win this because Ymir was wasting his freeze. I had to bait it out, and he was falling for the bait a bit much. If he didn't try to freeze me, he should always try to freeze if I was close enough. But, yeah. Nah. Nice. I don't know. I know I'll be playing him way too much when uh yeah uh, yeah I know I'll be playing him so much when we get to higher ranks. I don't want to play him right now. Right now I can actually have fun with other stuff. Yeah, it's not great. People also hesitate building my lifesteal right now because they're not that good. Not lifesteal, anti-healing. Yeah, it's very good here. Two of them can't get out at all. And Mordred needs ult to get out. Yeah, they look nice. Also gotta look at Morrigan more, I think, especially in the beat forcing comp. You can just turn into another Ares. It's so fucking powerful. Suddenly like that, we end up in practically a scrim. Where he gets the 5-man squad here as well. Of the Ragnas team. It's not gonna be as easy to climb when you 5-man queue when you meet other big 5-man queues like this.
Minions have spawned. Death follows close.
Their ease isn't right for some reason. Yeah, he just ganked at level 2, I guess.
Your left tower is under attack. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Death follows close. An enemy has been slain. We have slain an enemy.
Sunder kill though. Not too shabby. Hey Bengus, good to see you, man. Mordred has shell as well.
Under attack. I'll attack middle lane. You are no match. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. An ally
Use the stream for
has been
background noise
slain.
so much. It's already on your quick access pages. I appreciate it, Bengus. It's nice to hear. Right now I also don't speak as much because I'm talking to the people I'm playing with, or listening to what they're saying as well. So, and I have them on push to talk, but when they talk, I'm just have this instinct of not wanting to interrupt, you know.
Your middle tower is under attack. You are no match. An ally has been slain.
You missed.
An ally has been slain.
Yeah, I should have just let him hit me, honestly. He would have been dead out of the way.
Your left tower is under attack.
Shell down. Yeah, Mordred shell down.
Okay.
Yeah, what goes that was Mordred. Is the newest addition to Smite 2. Same with Jingwei, but Jingwei is obviously not a new god.
Your middle tower is under attack. Please. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Mordred is missing.
An enemy has been slain.
Mordred is mid.
Attack the Gold Fury.
I'm just gonna run.
Enemy missing.
Destroy the Gold Fury.
Yeah, I took a shot. That was just a decoy, unfortunately.
Be careful.
The decoy taunts. It laughs when it goes away. Yeah, it does.
Retreat.
Mordred all down.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. Slain an enemy.
Finally.
Killing spree. Slain an enemy.
It's crit Ymir, man. I have Deathbringer. Yeah, it's Hydra's Deathbringer. If you crit the first shot, they almost get one shot. It's great. It sucks late game though. Can you guys get poly? You can, but it doesn't really matter because you don't have any intelligence. It scales off intelligence, whereas I'm building strength.
Enemy missing. Finally. Be careful.
I'm gonna TP over if I can.
An ally has been slain.
Enemy missing middle.
An enemy has been slain.
Justice will rise.
Clean.
An enemy has been slain.
Yeah, remember to do towers as well, because tower, yeah, gold is so much now. We gotta push objectives when we get big kills like this.
Finally subsides.
Yeah, I'm gonna back and rotate over.
Be careful left.
Yeah, it hits hard. Like, you hit really hard with a Yumia's passive. Like, they have such low cooldowns that you can practically keep up the 2 at all times. Just start gold with me, Loki.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Dude, I'm practically an ADC with this build. I do so much damage.
Middle tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain. Get middle lane. Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower.
Yeah, on the basic, it's real good. Like, oh, it's not real good. Like, it's...
Justice will rise.
That's too bad.
No problem. An enemy has been slain. Your right tower is under attack.
Enemy missing right.
Mordred missing.
Slain. An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
The dying star.
Yeah, it's still quite good, but you can see how much damage it does to me now. It's gonna be tough later.
An ally has been slain. Your left tower is under attack.
So sad.
Yeah, you could look at the top. Once we hit 3, I believe it's the next one then that becomes an ancient one.
You will never.
Like a dying star.
Yeah, I'll see if I can catch him somewhere. Certain blink.
Your team has destroyed a middle
Attack
enemy
the gold
tower.
fury.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you can just zone or something. Nice. Clean. Alright. I'll grab Hussar's wings here as well.
Enjoy yourself. So sad.
Yeah, we are. Like, when you QS5, you have a high chance of being against... Like, you're either gonna meet 5s or you're gonna meet 3s and 2s. You cannot meet someone solo queuing. Morgan and Morgan and Irisult. Yeah, I'm resetting. We should fight now though, because that's 2 big ults. You don't need a tank if the enemy isn't alive to deal damage. That's the thing. The thing is though, they don't really have an actual tank in this one, outside of Fenrir. Because Ares is the jungler, he's building full mage. That's why he's so easy to kill for me. He gets frozen and he's dead. His chains won't do enough damage to be a problem. Like, the Hydra's crit on Fenrir there, 400 sure is still good. That's only because I'm fed, but that's not a lot considering that's Hydra's and Deathbringer, you know? I'm gonna push while they have 2 dead.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the tier 2 here and then back. Yeah, sure. I'm going for Cern. Yeah, that's Coco can hold as well. Play it more. Yeah, GG's. I don't know if I'm willing to try hard this hard though in a casual or in like a normal rank game. It's a bit much. Maybe a 2-8 in my 1 rank. Damn. Yeah, that's well done, Mingus. I think a lot of the big things to do when you're like on a big losing streak or losing a lot is just keep composure, because losing isn't necessarily a bad thing. It means there's a lot to improve on. As long as you learn from that, you can only go up. What are we doing? Are we queuing 3 or what are we? Oh, you were 2-0, then went into an 8 loss streak in a row. Never felt so washed in your life. I understand. Like, I also feel really bad when I end up on big losing streaks. Even those, a lot of it may not even be your own fault in those cases. But that's exactly what I mean. If you're able to come back from something like that, I think that's a big win. A lot of people will just stay mad or sad or just negative. Is deity the highest new rank? It is, yes. Deity is the highest new rank. I can show them here. Deity is the highest. It's essentially Grandmaster, right? And Demigod will be Masters. So really, the goal for me is probably at least Demigod, but like Smite 1, my goal is obviously to go for the highest possible. Right now it's tough because people are still figuring out what's even good. So, yeah. You can hit it. I hope so. We'll see. I try to believe. Right now I'm just trying to learn. I'm obviously trying to read deity, but right now more than that, I'm trying to learn the game. To hit the max, I need to know what's good so that I can hit the max. I'm quite a bit behind a lot of people who spammed this. Because like some people are already running around in gold or platinum. Like potentially even diamond at the highest. I'm not sure who is highest anymore, but I saw Nika's in platinum now, so yeah. People are quite a bit ahead. Hopefully we meet a different team. Nah, but that was... I just don't want to deal with the same stuff again. Like, they were good, that's kind of the problem. I want to try hard that hard. I mean, I think we should just get Jingwei and Mordred here, to be honest. Unless you want to get Fenrir instead. Fenrir's probably better, but... Oh yeah, which one do you want?
Loki.
You don't want to do the one-shot Ymir? She's got decent clear with her passive at least. It's not the best, but I still think with her ultimate being, you know, anything, the heavy beats forcing you can run with her is just insane and straight up broken. You can always get an area assault off on someone.
Mordred.
And as long as you have some kind of follow-up, like maybe a Kukulkan or like Hecate or whatever, you have something follow-up, they're just dead. You can't do anything about it. I think SOT and auto speed are almost second highest rank. Okay. Yeah, that's NA. They've been spamming, I think. They haven't even slept. They've just been going ham. I don't know any of these people. If in 3 months you do 300 games, should it reach the highest rank? Sure, maybe. I mean, it depends on how much you win, right? I might just end up in Smite 1 where I'm just kind of stuck in Masters, like winning a bit, then losing a bit, then winning a bit, then losing a bit.
Glorious power is mine for the taking.
Yeah, for sure, that should be very easy. As you played 21 hours straight, yeah. Yeah, some people take it very serious and really want to get there fast. That's fair. It's also kind of a race, you know? It's advertisement. Like, right now, people, like, a lot more people would probably watch me if I was number one, you know? People would see is who's gonna get there first, you know? So, understandable. You can finally reach Masters in Smite? Hell yeah, man. Gotta be against this other four people who play the game. My experience today, I just have to support my way out of the CO hell. I feel like if I was getting really shit on, I'd probably just pick mid. I would pick mid or solo, and then go for just a carry and solo farm until I'm strong enough to just kill anything.
Death is but a close friend. An ally has been slain.
Attack.
Your left tower is under attack. An ally has been slain. Death is but a close friend.
Yeah, he never took it. He started lane. He didn't really want lane. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I kind of played this whole exchange pretty bad. I feel like I should have had him. I think I should have started with my 2, and I would have actually had him, because the attack speed buff I get from your, you get from your 2 would have been able to, I would have been able to box him to death. Instead. So yeah, a bit bad on my part.
Pain is all I have ever known. The pain finally subsides.
Anubis Blink, Thanatos wasn't left. That's unfortunate timing that Thanos showed up. I also forgot, I guess my dash knocks up and just gets stopped instead. I don't actually go through them, so I just kind of dashed into Thana there and wasted it. When I probably could have gotten out with it instead. He's level 5, I'm not. And he's got the Warhorn minions. I gotta stay back.
I sense your fear. Tower is under attack. An enemy
Anubis missing.
slain. An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. Sent to blood.
Oh, damn it. That's funny. The creeps blocked me and I blocked you.
Your left tower is under attack.
Yeah, I killed my own Loki. I got betrayed by my creeps. They fucked me up, man. My creeps decided, no, you shall not pass. And that's final. Oh, I'm getting punished for killing my teammate, huh? Alright. Alright, I'll accept this time. Remind me after the game though, I'm pretty sure I forgot some squads yesterday. That I was supposed to do.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Damn. That did more damage than I expected, holy shit. What did the initial hit do? I can't tell, man. What the fuck does all this shit mean? Was it 216? It's so much damage, that initial hit. But Anubis is also probably pretty good into someone like Mordred with a low mobility. But definitely should not be diving him. I did take a tower shot for no reason. I thought I could.
Enemy spotted.
I sense your fear. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
On my
Oh,
An enemy has been slain.
damn.
bye.
Alright, Benji. See you later. Yeah, I'll probably be offline. In not too long, I think. Yeah. I'll probably still play off stream a bit, but I'm not gonna do the same as I did yesterday and just neglect my, my dinner and my dog and all that stuff. I want to still do that, and then, yeah. I'll just be back. I'm actually not sure if I'll be streaming tomorrow as well. I will admit, I might need a small break from streaming. I've been going pretty hard lately. So I might take a break tomorrow. If I do, I will tweet it out. But as it stands right now, I don't think I'll be streaming tomorrow at least. Yeah, that's 3 here. Imagine running away from a triple kill. Oh yeah, that was so easy. Dude, that tower wouldn't have stood a chance. A triple and a tower. True. Mistakes were made.
Glorious power is mine for the taking.
Completed.
Missing on Anubis.
Nice job.
Yeah, I'll do Benji. You're probably gone now, but I'll relax a bit more. Cause tomorrow, yesterday was not great for me. I'm coming for Bacchus.
Your left tower is under an enemy has
Never
been
mind.
slain. Your left tower is under attack.
That's Anubis blink.
Send a block. Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
Careful middle.
Yeah, probably. If anyone comes, we can probably kill them. I got rank 1 ult as well, so I have the root.
On my way.
Did Anubis ult before? Okay.
An enemy has been slain.
Okay.
An enemy. You are no match.
Yes.
Send a block.
mean. Honestly, I feel like once people figure out how to use Kukulkan and his dash well, he's gonna be super powerful. Because that shit does a lot of damage. My keyboard, guys, my keyboard lately has been real bad with the double pressing stuff. It might be time for me to finally give in and buy a new keyboard. Because holy shit. It's looking rough lately. Like yesterday when I was playing by myself, it was fucking hard to just play the game. I don't know why it happens so much sometimes. And I think one of the reasons why I haven't bought anything new is because I'm scared that it's not the keyboard. I'm scared that it's a more technical problem. And plan what keyboard you're getting. Probably just the newest Logitech. I just prefer Logitech stuff. It's what I have now. I think it's great. Yeah, no problem. I'm away mid. Never mind.
An enemy has been slain.
Can we kill Thana? Oh, I guess I can. Oh, what? Dude, the Phoenix just sped up. You think it's a bug, huh? The tower just hit me 4 times in less than a second. Huh. It seems like it. Dude, this ult has so many glitches, it's crazy. Damn, that's kind of crazy. No tower diving allowed with the Mordred ultimate. Holy shit.
Glorious power is mine for the taking. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
I have ult, we maybe kill something in mid. What? No, Bacchus is here. How did he juke me? There's too many people here.
So sorry. Hold together.
under attack.
And almost soul kill. Damn, he did so much damage. Dude, Neath is broken.
Glorious power.
I did not expect Neath to do that much damage to me. Like, I'm not exactly super tanky, but still. That's crazy. Oh, FPS drops. Jesus, FPS drops, man. We threw everything at them. It's crazy considering how far behind she is, yeah. I was just boxing her though, which I shouldn't be doing. Because I'm, like... I have good amount of attack speed, but I don't think you do as much damage as an ADC either way. I need to like stay back a bit, wait for abilities to come back up, and then go in. Because I still had abilities like available to me, which is what I ended up finishing her off with. I could have just pressed those abilities. I wanted to box her. But yeah, I just didn't expect the amount of damage that she was doing to me. Alright, I can do one or two more maybe as well, then I'm gonna go for some dinner and end off the stream. Then I can return later for some more games. So yeah, I apologize for this somewhat short stream today, guys, but I also feel a little burned out on streaming in general. Not, well, burned out maybe the wrong word, in a very tiny amount. It's just because I haven't taken a break from streaming for like, I don't know, like maybe 2 weeks now, I think. Usually I take at least one day off in the weekends or when I can't. But yeah, I mean, I'm going kind of ham with it since Wukong came out, at least. So, and Wukong came out the 20th, I think. So yeah, at least since then. So that's a bit over a week, but even before then I was kind of going a bit ham at it. No one here will complain, yeah. That's alright. You do have VODs, yeah. And for the people that are interested, you can always check the YouTube. I try to at least upload my VODs as fast as I possibly can. And for the few people that may be interested in the Wukong playthrough, right now I've had gigantic issues rendering one of the VODs. It keeps getting corrupted. So I'm trying to figure out what the fuck that's about. I'm really trying to get that shit rendered properly. So hopefully I can do that today. But it also takes a very long time to render stuff, which is honestly one of the reasons why I need to take one day off of streaming, is so I can render that long VOD, because it takes hours for it to render, and I cannot do that while streaming, because that's going to be way too heavy on my PC, and it's going to fuck up the rendering process anyway. So, as it stands right now, I am not going to be streaming tomorrow. I will be playing and Rising, though, in Smite 2. I don't know, maybe if I'm playing for hours and hours, I might start streaming anyway, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Are we just two-manning now? Okay. Yeah, just coincidence, I guess. It's trying to find us another duo queue. What role are you gonna play then? Alright, that makes sense. We can just camp solo then, if I get solo. If I don't get solo, I'll just pick mid. Actually cancel the queue. Let's have, we can get Merc in. Yeah. Alright, Merc, can you send me an invite then? Or a friend request. I'll get you in. Dude, you can't press that? Damn. Okay. And gotta learn how to navigate this thing. There we go. Alright. Because this way you could play support now, if a Merc gets ADC. Then you guys can just dominate the dueling. If you want to do that. Jungle also works. Or am I killing a teammate? Oh yeah, the squats. I'll do them. Don't worry about it. I will do them. Yeah, I'll do them now. And I did just shower, by the way, so thanks for that. I feel like Susano is the easiest one to carry with in jungle, honestly. He just has so much mobility and damage. That's fair. Yeah, maybe I can yoink him in solo. It's either that or maybe I'll go Hades for once. See how that works.
Hades.
Yeah, I have not played enough Hades. For how powerful he is. Like, if I'm against Mordred here, which I think I am, I have to stay back early. Because he's got so much base damage that I'm gonna have to chill a bit until I can probably one-shot the wave or something like that. Meaning I would have to wait until level 5 or maybe I can get pressure at level 4? I'm not really so sure. Also depends on how I play my level 2. It's funny how the level 2 is basically just as important in Smite 2 as it was in Smite 1. Because whoever gets the level 2 gets the little camp. It's a lot more valuable in Smite 2, because that shit gives a lot of gold.
Hades.
Damn, that looks kind of sick. Dude, they nailed these skins. I have to, also, why is Hades so big? So big compared to every other god.
Hades.
Oh, look how beautiful he is.
Hades.
He just feels like he's much closer to the screen than everyone else.
Question my rule.
Like, at this rate, oh shit, the Gabu. We're meeting the Fenrir man himself.
Good luck.
He just wants to be an NBA. He's so big on the. He's just, like, that's the thing. He's not even gonna be the. Like, he's not that big, right? Is he the biggest god in Smite 2 at the moment? Like, I don't know. I feel like Ymir is about the same size, right? But Ymir isn't that close to the screen. I feel like. Maybe it's just me. Like, what's gonna happen when Cthulhu joins? You know, and Yorm. All you can see is their eyes. They're gonna be staring you straight in the face. Ymir's a hobbit?
Hello, young one. Take this jungle buff.
Okay. No.
I'm rocking.
Join my tribe.
Thanks.
Isn't mid supposed to start in mid?
Your middle tower is under attack. You are no match.
Be right back.
Right. This guy did both his buffs.
An enemy has been slain. You're something else.
This guy actually just went, did both buffs, did the wave and then backed. I don't think this was worth it, my friend. You're gonna lose way too much farm. Pretty easy right now, because he did both red and blue, was too low when he got to lane and then backed. Very gankable, I guess.
Death follows close.
Be careful, little tease.
I'm over it.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out.
An enemy has been slain.
Enemy missing middle.
Damn. I really thought I had him. Dude, it's an instant cast again. Oh my fucking god.
Enemy missing middle.
Okay. I don't know why Hades keeps glitching for me, but he's glitched again. My one swaps between instant cast and normal cast. Yeah, Mordred is here.
Enemy missing middle.
Finally subsides.
Yeah, he might have done blue, but I'm not sure. He's in mid, yeah. I'm just gonna back actually. I have too much gold.
Elysium will welcome you.
Yeah, for some reason it's an instant cast now. Like it's literally set to normal. Like, that's fine.
Right back.
Stay on normal, please. Now it's a normal. Hades just kind of shits on Mordred. Yeah, I'll be fine. She's just backed away. Normal cast feels bad on almost every ability. I like them on the ones where I have to aim like that. Like, I don't know why. Right now it's bugged. Like it keeps swapping to instant cast. It's really annoying. And it's only on Hades too. I don't have this problem on other gods. It's really strange. I can get used to it on instant cast. It's just I don't like the abilities where you have to aim very much on instant cast. It feels odd to me, but I guess I'll have to get used to it here. I'm kind of forced to. Let's grab potentially do more. I'll just go Rod actually. There you can also just make double click to activate. I don't even know what that actually means. I feel like it doesn't sound like something I would enjoy, but I'm not sure. I don't know what that really entails.
Be right back.
Mordred's level 6. This man is done going to lane.
An enemy has been slain. You're something else. An enemy has been slain.
Yeah, bullying. Well, I have to. I'm against Gabu. Otherwise, Gabu's gonna shit on me. You know? I'm scared of Gabu. I know his talent.
On my way.
I'm so very aware of how good Gabu is on Fenrir. And how strong Fenrir is as well.
Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
See, I fucked up my dash because I'm not used to being instant cast. I'm still trying to aim it first.
Be right back.
I'm not good at it.
Enemy missing right.
Enemy ultimate down.
Yeah, you can trigger it easily when you see it coming. As Hades, I can literally counter it by ulting as a response, so he's just fucked in my ult. That's funny. No! Damn it!
Your team has destroyed an enemy.
Even the perfect plan.
Oh well.
Attack.
I might do this.
Destroyed a middle enemy tower. Your team has
Nah, I'm doing
destroyed
poly.
a left enemy tower.
Why not use a skill on your ult? I was hoping for one of them to get close enough, and then I ended up just not being able to. I should have. I really wanted one of them to get closer, one of the two carries specifically. I didn't want to use my 3 just on Athena, I wanted to get one of them closer. But now I know Sol beats, meaning Sol is dead next time we see each other.
Ambush here. Gank left lane.
Enemy missing right.
Are you gonna walk up, my friend?
Attack left lane.
Yes, he is.
Finally subsides.
I'm on it.
Yes, last time I ever see her. She's not coming up. Dude, damn it. Every time. I can't get used to it. I don't know.
Is ready.
I'm just so used to it being a normal cast. I just prefer jumps on normal cast. I don't know why.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy
Be right back.
That does sound bugged, yeah. Does it say what it is?
Attack the gold fury. Take this jungle buff.
Tease.
Who will haunt your dreams now?
Okay.
What is happening in mid?
Distract and destroy.
Attack right lane.
Alright, that was pretty fast. I feel like I can probably squeeze in another one. Yeah, I don't know Hades can dash in his ult now. You can use an ability in like any... It's not just the dash, like it's either the 2 or 3 as well. So you get one ability for free while inside your ultimate. So you can dash, ult, and then dash again if you want. You can 3, ult, 3 again, or fear as well. So... And if you're even crazier, you can also build Staff of Mordred, which now gives you an extra ability. So when you press the active item, it will the next item you next ability you use rather will not go on cooldown. So you can actually dash alt dash dash or dash dash alt dash. You can do some crazy shit because of that stuff. I did, Bengas. I squatted before. Before this game, I squatted. I went and did them. Hades is literally a nuke. He's very powerful, for sure. I'm just bad at him. Like, Hades is someone I would have to practice, because I feel like I'm not good at him. Yeah, 3 ult 3-3. I do think the dash stuff is the better version because good players won't ever really get caught in the Hades ult. That's where the dash comes in. Because you make them jump, right? You dash after them. But I don't think I enjoy Hades that much until that glitch is fixed. Because I have such a hard time getting used to the jump on instant cast. I just can't. It's really weird. Oh no. Sad. I am support. Alright. Support of this. Time for either full damage Ymir or full damage Bacchus. Face punch Ymir is good. I mean, it definitely is in casual games. Or I keep saying casual, but in a, shall we say, against lower elo people, it definitely is. I would agree. I could also just do Odin. Because I could just build the same on Odin solo as I could just do in support. The only problem is I'm going to be lower level, which is not great. I guess they didn't pick anything. Okay. That's the first dodge. First dodge in Smite 2. Yeah, it definitely looked weird. You're saying people are already good at players at Smite 2. People are already good like at Smite 2. Like everyone who's good at Smite 1 is going to be good at Smite 2. I don't think that's a big secret or like some kind of mastermind theory. It plays the same. The only thing people don't know now is who's the best and how do you build them. That's about it. People need to figure out the builds and the gods and how they work now. And that's not going to take very long. Like, the people are going to figure that shit in less than a month. It was also kind of a blessing that someone dodged, because I was support. I didn't... someone snagged both mid and solo so fast. I would have won Jameer crit, though. You're banning. You were actually happy to see me go support. Why? Why do you want to see support gameplay? Who wants to see support gameplay, man? I kind of understand, actually. Oh, you're a support main? I see. Fair enough. I do think support is probably more interesting to watch than solo as well. Just because there's more action. So I understand. Hmm.
Bologna.
Have not seen a whole lot of Bologna. Yeah, she does definitely feel clunky. She's less clunky somehow than she was in the alpha. It's crazy how clunky she was in the earlier alphas. But, yeah. I think she feels alright now, but maybe that's just because she was so bad back then. Hi. You also call it feeder main? Your teammates don't find it funny? I understand, if I was your teammate. Just wish triple and 5 premates needs to be removed from this game. It is. I agree, Gabu. I don't think they should ever have had done it more than 2. I don't think you should ever be able to do more than duo queuing. I don't know why 5 is a thing, dude. 5 seems just unnecessary. Imagine doing more than duo queuing? Yeah, who would ever do that? Not me. Dude, damn it, I picked Bologna to go against Mordred and it looks like it's gonna be jungle. Damn it.
Excellent.
How is Death Toll? Is it good? Does anyone know Death Toll? The starter? Just in general, I guess. Like, is the item good? I don't really think I see it much. I think Warrior's Access is absolute garbage right now, unfortunately. It's so bad. So I gotta look at something. I could just try Bluestone. Like, Bluestone is just super good. Bluestone Bologna. I actually don't want it. Oh, I can't sell it. Oh no. I'm streaming, yeah. Dude, you can resell your active or your starter. I guess I'm going Bluestone Bologna now. Could have been worse.
Why, hello, subjects.
Hi.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I should be fine.
Why, hello, subject.
I just really wanted to Death Toll for the sustain. On Bologna, I think it should work out pretty well. This man's starting in lane. Oh no, Ares!
Thanks.
Defend left lane.
Oh my god. Dude, this man Q ranked? Dude, learn the game first. Why are you here? No. With 3 man, we have Merc as well. So ADC is secured as well. Dude.
Retreat. Defend left lane.
Ares! Please! Go away! Odin is so confused. Oh my god. It's funny how this is the first time this has happened, and it's when I'm silver now. Dude, I'm behind Odin now. Shit. Yeah, Ares has to be with Sol then. No one we know, I believe.
Your middle tower is under attack.
At least the Odom against isn't particularly good either. What the hell? Oh yeah, Bellona's dash is just not working properly.
Under attack.
Yeah.
Has been slain.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
On my way. An enemy has been slain.
Yeah, good job. I'm not sure what Ares is doing in the jungle, but he's doing it.
On my way.
I'm not so easily defeated.
Slain an enemy. Your left tower is under attack.
Let's grab this.
Enemy missing.
An enemy has been slain.
You move well.
Enemy missing, right.
Odin trying to yoink this behind my back. Don't believe it. Yeah, I don't think Anubis is that good. I think his ult is good, but his one, yeah, his one is strange. I tried him as well once.
Middle tower has been slain. Your left tower is under attack. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack. Send the block.
Oh, the shield. He almost got away. It's tough rotating because you lose so many creeps so easily. They just die so fast. You gotta be prepared to lose farm when you rotate. Bless you.
Attack left lane. An enemy has been slain.
It's a very unpleasant sound with a bludgeon on Bologna. Kind of hits the ears a little roughly.
Why, hello, son. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
I might really want Dagger or Frenzy for nothing. This guy does not want to fight. Hi.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my last one. I'll sit out and get some food and just get some food. Walk the dog.
Enemy tower.
Yeah, we have Merc with us.
Slain an enemy. Killing spree. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack. An enemy has slain an enemy.
Odin's done.
An enemy has been slain.
Wait, what are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking
An
about?
enemy has been slain.
Oh. Oh.
An enemy has returned. Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower. On my way. An enemy has been slain. Your right enemy tower.
Let's kill mid. Yeah.
Your right tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Enemy missing, right.
Retreat! Be careful!
Drop it.
Retreat!
Drop it.
My ult's down. For 12.
You have slain an enemy. An ally has been slain.
That's enough.
An enemy has been slain.
Finally subsides.
Yes.
Been here long enough.
Slain an enemy.
That's crazy. Yeah, don't worry. They can't hear you guys. You can say the funny words, yeah. Every single one of them. My desktop sound is off. It's only picking up capture sounds. So like, it's pretty much only my game sound being picked up.
Your team has destroyed
Or
our
only Smite,
enemy
to be
tower.
specific. I don't know what to build my last item here.
Has been slain.
Well, I guess I have 2 last items. I'm still not used to having 7 items. I'm like, I need a filler here. Oh wait, I have 2 slots.
An ally has been slain.
Oh, we're getting wiped here.
On my way.
An enemy has been slain.
Allah beckons.
Damn it. Get me out of there. Damn it. Stupid flower. Didn't heal me enough. I was also spamming my G button. I keep forgetting it's Q for the second one. I'm not used to pressing Q.
Now this is a fine tool. Attack the fire giant!
Yeah, I mean, we're winning easy, Bengals. Which... I think if you have anyone on like a Masters to GM skill level from Smite 1, you're gonna win these games pretty easily as long as you have... Like, unless you're against the same skill level. You're gonna win. Like, even just as 3 people. We could probably just 3-man this. Yeah. Yeah, I think the...
An enemy has been slain.
Hit me.
Been slain.
On my way.
An enemy has been slain.
Come on and hit me.
An enemy has been slain.
An unfortunate misstep.
Yes.
Yeah, our enemies aren't putting up much of a fight. Like, some of them are doing alright. Ow!
So easily.
I didn't even hear him use it.
Enemy Phoenix. An enemy has been slain.
Okay.
Hit me.
I call forth a relic from the past.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy
Close. He almost had him.
What's the curve?
Ares does not want to tank anything. Yeah, yeah, that went up real fast. It's pretty much the only way you can check like player damage and stuff. Last time I checked, it didn't recognize my name though, so I don't exist. All right. I will just leave the party here, then you can figure out what to do. But yeah, I'll touch you guys later. I'll place a bit more to them. Yeah, GG's. Bye bye. Now, all right. Yeah, thank you for joining, Merc. I will go do my usual of walking the dog, eating, and all that stuff, and relaxing a bit. I will not be back later to play on stream, but I will obviously play some more Smite. I wanna get in the grind, even though I won't be streaming. So, thank you guys for watching as always. I really fucking appreciate it. I'll be taking a break tomorrow. I feel like I need one. I'll still be playing Smite off stream, but I just need to not have a camera in my face, I guess, and just relax. Maybe, well, I don't know, watch something on my other monitor, something like that. So thank you so much, guys.